how to disagree without getting fired. Yesterday we talked about silence. Today we're going to talk about when to speak up, because sometimes staying quiet isn't an option. Your bad boss wants to launch a project that will fail. Your bad boss blames you for something you didn't do. Your bad boss makes a decision that will hurt the team. You need to disagree, but if you do it wrong, you're updating your resume by the end of the week. So let me teach you the Socratic method, the technique that's been working for 2,400 years. The Socratic method, Socrates never told people that they were wrong. Instead, he asked questions, and those questions made people realize that they were wrong themselves. He called it midwifery of ideas, helping people birth their own understanding. We're going to use this to help your bad boss birth better decisions. Quote from Socrates, "I know that I know nothing." Here's the setup. Your boss says, "We're doing it this way." You think it's a disaster. Most people do one of two things. Option A, that's not going to work because X, Y, and Z. Congratulations, you just challenged their authority in front of everyone. Option B, you stay silent, you watch it fail, and you get blamed anyway. Another option is the Socratic option. Okay, this is better. That is interesting. Can I ask a few questions to make sure I understand the full picture? Never say they're wrong. Make them discover it. Do you see what you did? You didn't disagree. You asked to understand, and there's a big difference here. Then you can ask, what happens if the client pushes back on timeline? Have we stress tested this with the budget constraints? What's our backup plan if X occurs? You're not saying to your bad boss that their idea is wrong. You're illuminating the gaps. But here's the key. Sometimes your bad boss has actually thought through these things, in which case you learn something. So this is a win-win. The tone matters. Aristotle wrote about rhetoric, which is the art of persuasion. He said there's three elements: logos, ethos, and pathos. Logos is logic. Ethos is your credibility. Pathos is emotion. When you disagree with your bad boss, most people lead with logos. Here are the facts about why you are wrong. Facts don't really change minds. Feelings do. Wrong move. You just triggered their ego. Now it's not about the facts. It's about them being right. Instead, try leading with ethos. Establish that you're on the same team. You could say instead, "I'm committed to making this successful," or "I want this to work as much as you do," or "I'm trying to protect us from XYZ potential issues." Now you've positioned yourself as an ally, not as an adversary. Then you can add some pathos. "I'm worried about the team's bandwidth," or "I'm concerned that we'll lose credibility with the client." You're expressing concern, not criticism. This is a huge difference. And then, if this has worked, and only then do you bring in the logos. You bring in the facts, the data, and the logic. But if it's wrapped in team language and genuine concern, not "you're wrong," more like "we could be heading towards trouble." Another aspect to this is timing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." But he also knew when to engage. Don't disagree in the meeting, especially not in front of your bad boss's boss or in front of the entire team. Never in public, always in private. Wait. Schedule 15 minutes. "Hey, can I grab you for a few more minutes? I want to talk through some scenarios on the project." Private conversations mean that they can change their mind without losing face. Public disagreement means that they have to defend their position or look weak. Plato understood that the ego is like a wild horse. You can't break it, you have to guide it. Give your boss an exit ramp. Even if they don't deserve it, it's just Good strategy. Give them a way to adjust course without admitting that they were wrong initially. Okay? In this scenario, you are the good person and your boss is the bad boss. So you know your stuff, but you still have to work for the guy or the girl. So you've got to lead them towards the right way of doing things. You know what? As I was thinking about your plan, I realized we might want to add X to make it even stronger. See, you're improving the idea, not opposing it. The stakes calculation. Epictetus taught the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, some things aren't. Before you disagree, ask yourself, what is actually at stake here? Another way of saying this is pick your battles. Save your capital for the battles that matter. This guy Seneca, he said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Your bad boss's mediocre plan might actually just work out fine, or it might fail in ways that don't touch you, that don't matter to you, that never affect you. But if the stakes are real, you'll get blamed, the client will be harmed, the team will suffer, then yes, you need to speak up. Just do it strategically. Use the Socratic method. Use private conversation. Use the team first framing. And the reality check from Aristotle is that it is the mark of an educated man, of an educated mind, to entertain a thought without accepting it. Okay? This is quite subtly nuanced, but you have to be able to think through scenarios in your brain without having to speak it. So that it requires critical thinking. It requires the quiet contemplation in your own mind of going through and analyzing before you speak up. That's hard for a lot of people. Your boss might hear your concerns and still decide to proceed. That's their right as the boss. At that point, you've done your due diligence. You document the conversation if it's serious, and then you execute the plan as best as you can. You can't control their decisions. You can only control your response. Phrases that work here. Let me give you the exact phrases that have worked for thousands of years. Number one, help me understand how we're addressing ... You're not challenging it, you're seeking the clarity. The next one, I'm on board and I want to make sure that we've thought through ... Establishes that you're aligned with the team first. The next one is, what would happen if, and then go into the scenario. This Socratic question opens exploration without accusation. The next one, I see the vision. My only concern is, could we consider, I want to make sure I'm protecting you from... Do you notice the pattern in all of these? None of these phrases say, you're wrong. They all say, let's think this through. That's what Socrates did. That's Aristotle. That's thousands of years ago. That's philosophy showing you how to challenge power without threatening it. You have to challenge the idea, not the person. If all of this fails, you've got the nuclear option, guys. This is where we get to the extremes. I don't 100% agree with this, but I'm just telling you the nuclear option. Now, sometimes your boss is so toxic that any disagreement is career suicide, and I get that. If you're in that situation, there's this guy called Nietzsche. Nietzsche has something to say. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why might be finishing this project before you leave, getting that certification, building your network for 6 more months. In that case, strategic silence from yesterday is your friend, and updating that LinkedIn profile is your evening hobby. But for most of you, you can disagree. You just have to do it like a philosopher, not like a challenger. I'll speak more about Nietzsche later and the nuclear option, but just know that the nuclear option is fire your boss, okay? Fire your bad boss. I mean that when I say it, but people misunderstand me when they hear me say that. I'm not saying that in reality you're going to actually fire your boss. You probably don't have the authority to do that. In fact, you don't. But what you do is make the decision, I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to work like this anymore. And then you quit and you move on and go to the next thing. But you call it in your brain firing your boss. Okay? That keeps you on the straight and narrow, and that you're doing the right thing whenever you can. Okay, in closing this video, tomorrow we're going to talk about the 24-hour rule and why you should never respond when you're angry.